Hello and welcome. Choosing the right college is one of the most important life decisions as it is the launchpad for your career that can open doors to opportunities, mentors, and networks that shape your professional journey. It's when knowledge meets perspective and ambition transforms into meaningful action. In today's rapidly evolving world, it's not just about academic excellence, it's about nurturing leadership, driving innovation, and building a strong foundation rooted in ethics and purpose. In this conversation, we will explore the shifting paradigms of business education, the growing need for ethical entrepreneurship, and how institutions can lead the way by cultivating not just skills, but values. At the forefront of this transformation is Symbiosis Center for Management Studies, Pune. Established in 2004, the Institute has devoted itself to excellence in teaching, learning, and research. The Institute believes in developing students into not only leaders, but individuals with strong vision to make an impact globally. With a legacy of excellence and a forward looking approach, SCMS Pune stands out for its emphasis on holistic development, global perspective, and a curriculum deeply rooted in ethics and innovation. Joining us today is Dr. Adya Sharma, Director, Symbiosis Center for Management Studies, Pune, who will share her perspective on how the institution is shaping business leaders of tomorrow. An accomplished academic leader with over 25 years of experience spanning corporate training, research, and global academic collaborations, she brings a unique blend of industry insight and educational innovation to the forefront of business education. Ma'am, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much for having this conversation.
Adya ma'am, to start off, could you please share a little bit of the legacy of SCMS Pune? How has the Institute evolved to stay relevant in a changing landscape of business education?
That's a very interesting question, and I would love to take you through the journey of SCMS Pune, as we popularly call it. So SCMS Pune was established in the year 2004. It carries the rich legacy of Symbiosis, and it was started to provide a business management education at the undergraduate level, which was not just about business, but an interdisciplinary and a multidisciplinary education. Way back in the year 2011, we introduced what we popularly call the cafeteria approach. What was the cafeteria approach? It was that the students could decide which subjects they want to study so they can make their own bouquet, their own basket of subjects. I don't think anybody else was offering it at that point of time. Not only that, we offered specializations besides the popular specializations like marketing and human resource and international business and finance. We started offering specializations of entrepreneurship and environment business way back in the year 2011. And we allowed the students to decide what they want to study, which specializations they want to do. Do they want to do one specialization or two specializations? As I said, we also started with something what we call as the floating credits. Now, what was floating credits? Yes, we are teaching you business subjects, definitely. But in this world, it's not just knowing the management subjects is not enough. You also need to know law. You also need to know design. So if I'm starting a company, I have a product, I need a product designer. I also need to understand the law. I also need to understand advertising or my PR, the public relations. And therefore, what we introduced was floating credits. What was floating credits? It was that our students could study these subjects from our partner sister Symbiosis institutes. So as I said, the whole idea was business in a very interdisciplinary and a very multidisciplinary way. That's where we started. And then in the year 2023, again, we were one of the first institutes to embrace the new education policy. And now BBA is not a 3-year course. It's a 4-year course as per NEP 2020 with multiple entry and multiple exit options. Again, a wonderful opportunity for students to not just study what they want, but also decide how long they want to study. So yeah, in short, this is what SCMS journey has been, where we have tried to be contemporary, relevant at every point of time, ensuring that our students get the best. And I can go on and on. But I think to begin with, this little brief.
That's amazing. It seems your college was really one with the foresight back in 2004. You were doing things that colleges are only now doing. In your view, what defines a future ready business leader and how is SCMS Pune shaping them?
So we teach our students with a lot of case studies, live case studies, written case studies, and most probably I'll pick up the word case to describe the future business leader, where C change stands for change, because I think change is the only constant thing. You need to be ready to change. You need to be ready to change with the circumstances, with the business environment. So just to give you an example, technology wasn't really identified with management around 20 years back, or maybe 15 years back. Today, technology is the middle name of any profession. And therefore, as a management institute, we needed to be ready with the fact that our students also need to study subjects like Python, data visualization, so on, and analytics, so on and so forth. Number two, adapt. We know that there's a change, but then the thing is that the leader should be able to adapt to that change and also help the team to adapt. So continuing with the same example, yes, we knew that technology is now the middle name of business and management also. Now adapt your course, your program structure, your syllabus according to it. And therefore, that's where, with the help of our different stakeholders, so SCMS Pune works very closely with our stakeholders, be it the corporate world, be it our parents, students, NGOs. So with the corporate, with our various stakeholders, we were able to introduce all these subjects, all these courses as part of our program structure, with now business analytics being one of the specializations. Then third one, solution. When I talk about solution, I'm talking about a practical solution, which is sustainable, which can run for a longer period of time. And again, at that point of time, I think the leader's role becomes very important. And finally, E for me stands for ethics and empathy, which I think how much emphasis, whatever emphasis I can give, I would really like to give, because this never goes out of business, out of fashion. As a leader, you really need to be able to empathize with people. And obviously, ethics, the very foundation of any work that you do in life. So yeah, these are the roles. These are some of the characteristics I think which a business, the future leader should have. And in SCMS Pune, we have tried that we incorporate this as we move along with our program structure.
Right. So since early on, students learn to imbibe these values at SCMS Pune. And how is your approach to business education different from the traditional models? Yes, technologies change. One has to adapt. But how does it stand apart from the competition?
So it stands apart from other business educations on a lot of levels. Number one, as I said, we were most probably one of the first to introduce what is called the cafeteria approach, which meant that we understood and we appreciated and we encouraged the students to decide what to study, when to, how, and what subjects to study. They should have that freedom. So that is number one. Number two, as I said, we introduced specializations like entrepreneurship and environment management, which today we call sustainability and environment management, way back in the year 2011. Number three, if you look at our program structure, we also, again, way back in 2014-15, we started emphasizing and including MOOCs or massive open online courses as part of our program structure. So while our students were studying business subjects over here, they were also doing these massive open online courses from different Ivy League institutes while sitting right here in India. So that when they walked out after 3 years, they didn't just have a BBA degree, they also had certificates from some leading universities. And another thing which I'm very proud of, I think, which we introduced, and again, this was much before COVID in the year 2019, what we call it is Collaborative Online International Learning, or COIL. Now, what is COIL is when two cohorts of students from two different cultures, two different countries, two different languages, timelines, they work together on live projects. And it's not about faculty teaching, it's about students working together. So, for example, our students, one of the most successful partnerships we have is with FATEC Brazil. Those students, the time difference is almost 9.5 to 10.5 hours. Their students do not know English. Our students do not know Portuguese. Their culture is very different from our culture. And yet today, for almost 6-7 years, we've had such a successful partnership where two batches, where the students are working together online, on live projects. And I think this is where the world today is progressing. I mean, in the sense that today we have teams in the corporate world with people sitting in different parts of the country, working together on common products. So these are just some of the innovations that we have taken at every step to ensure that our program is not just a BBA program, but it's a BBA program which grooms the students to face life real time.
The examples that you've given of the collaboration with Brazilian students is really amazing. It underscores the fact that these days, soft skills and the ability to collaborate is also part of the core skill business leaders must have. Now, what are the other core values and skills business education must instill to prepare leaders who not only innovate, but also do it responsibly?
So, as I said, I mean, obviously, the values, empathy, ethics, hard work, and so on. And when we're talking about skills, well, yes, I'm talking about technology, but also what we give a lot of emphasis. So saying this is easy. Maybe what I would like to emphasize is how do we help the students understand empathy? So we have something called, everybody does corporate internship. So everyone goes to the corporate world, works for whatever, 2-3 months. Our students not only do corporate internship, we also do what is called social internship. Now, what is social internship? They have to work with an NGO for a specified time. And it's not voluntary, it's compulsory, which means that there are credits for it. We very strongly believe that your education, your skills should also be able to contribute to the development of the community that is around you. And how will you do that unless and until you understand that community? So we make our students work with the NGO so that they can understand their country in a better manner and also understand that how can they contribute at different levels. So, so as I said, these are this is just one of the ways in which we ensure that our students get the right values and the right skills. And then again, so it's not just about serious things, as my students would say, but we also organize what is called Simpulse. It's one of the largest student festivals. And SCMS Pune is completely a student-driven institute. So it is completely organized by the students. 500 students at the minimum, they work together for a period of 6 months organizing this festival in which they reach out to different colleges, different sponsors, and that's where they actually learn what they've learned to implement what they have learned in the class. They actually learn what is marketing. They actually learn what is empathy, and what they actually learn what is ethics for that matter. You can't teach ethics just via theory. So, these are some of the values and skills which we talk about, and we also ensure that we implemented in we help our students learn them practically.
Ma'am, it's very interesting that your students have to go to NGOs to know what's really happening at the ground levels. But do you think that sometimes ethics in this day and age becomes a moving target? Say a few years ago, ethics meant not fudging the books, saving the environment, doing something for the local community. Now people say ethics should also include how you treat your employees, because when these youngsters go into the corporate world, they face a lot of stress, a lot of pressure on targets, and they've seen some untoward consequences of this stress. So, how does the institution, in this institution, integrate ethics into innovation and leadership training?
So, very interesting question. And yes, I mean, in the sense, the debate about ethics and innovation can be never ending. Um, Let me pick up from where you spoke about when you spoke about that, how today we are also talking about stress and how do we take care of it. So again, at SCMS Pune, we understood this way back. And as a university, we appreciate this. And therefore, what we have is something called Emotional Wellbeing Center. What it means is students at any point of time, and we encourage our students, they can go to that emotional well-being center and discuss if they have any concerns, and it's not just that they have to go. The emotional well-being center conducts classes to help everyone understand how to deal with the different kinds of stress and different kinds of pressures at work level, at personal level. Because unless and until you are emotionally fit, how will you deal with life? So again, this is an initiative which is very, very strong over here. When we are also talking about innovation, so while yes, we encourage innovation through specializations, through courses, but as I said, life is about theory and practical. And therefore, what we also have, we have an incubation center, which is by the university. And we encourage students who have good business ideas. In fact, any student, if you have a good business idea, you can approach that incubation center to help them set up their business and guide them for the future. So while we are encouraging entrepreneurship at the institute level, along here with the university level, we are also helping those. So there are to implement it while the student is still a student at SCMS Pune. I hope this answers the question.
Yes, ma'am, it does. You had mentioned the collaboration with Brazilian students, and you also mentioned that your students have to do an internship with an NGO. So you've been doing this for years now. Can you share how has this impacted, or how does it shape student values? What have you seen when they get into the workforce and say a few years into working? How does it shape them?
Somewhere in my experience, I feel that at the end of the day, when we are working together in a team, one of the most important things is to understand, appreciate the culture of your teammates. Because what may be right in my culture may be wrong in someone else's culture. And this is where most of the problems arise. So all these collaborations, so when they are working with students of a different culture, they understand how to respect other cultures. They understand how to appreciate other cultures. And talking about that, if you walk into any SCMS Pune class, we have students from 20 different countries studying here. So again, I have students not just from different states and union territories of our own country, but students from 20 different countries. And we celebrate all the festivals. And that's where students develop that patience, that respect to take the viewpoints of others. And when you get those skills, and they're doing it in the practical life, they're doing it in a very practical manner. So when you learn it in a very practical manner, either by the diversity on the campus or by these such efforts, then when they join the corporate world, it's not an issue for them at all to adjust because they have learned to appreciate things. They have learned to appreciate other people's viewpoint also. And not only that, at the end of the day, what I've also seen is, so when we used to interact with the Brazil students way back in 2019, Brazil is just one of the country. We are doing it with USA, we've done it with Germany, Philippines, UK, and so on. So when we started in 2019 with Brazil students, their knowledge about India or their perception about India was very different. Just like even the perception of our students about Brazil was very different. Today, they know so much more about India. And today we know so much more about Brazil. So I think somewhere all this affects the way you're working, because you have established strong relationships which are based on values and respect.
Definitely, ma'am, education is turning out to be the flag bearer of India's soft power. Now, what role does industry exposure play in preparing the students for real world challenges? Because, a lot of people say, oh, degrees don't matter these days. What really matters is your skill. Where do you stand on this?
So industry exposure is very, very important. Why? Because these students at the end of their studies will be working in the corporate world, and they need to understand the corporate world. So I do believe industry exposure is very important. And therefore, as an institute, we have worked out industry exposure at different levels. So industry exposure might maybe through guest lectures, where these people from the corporate world come, they speak to our students, they help them understand the difference between theory and practice. So they help them understand that what they've learned in the class, how to implement it, how easy or how difficult it is. Not only that, when they come for guest lectures, it also has an interaction with the faculty, which also keeps the faculty updated and also helps them know what we are teaching. It was only because of the industry interactions over the period of years that we knew much before in time that technology has to be incorporated in the management courses. So this may be one way of industry exposure. Then what we have industry exposure is by industry visits. So we actually take our students to the shop floor so that they spend a day over there or more than a day, and they see how things work out over there. What are the challenges or what are not the challenges. Then industry exposure also happens by internships. So during their 3 years, one corporate internship is compulsory, but they can definitely do more than one corporate internship. Again, an exposure to the industry. And it's not just an exposure for the students or the faculty or the institute, the other way also. The industry also sees that what are we doing? They help us in keeping us updated. They understand our challenges or our plus points. So that when the student walks out after 3 years or now 4 years, he's ready to contribute right from day one. So yes, industry exposure definitely is important, and at different levels, we are incorporating it in our daily schedules.
That's great, ma'am. But when usually people go to study business, they think like, oh, I'm going to study business, I'm going to get a degree, and then I'm going to find a job in a big company, preferably a MNC company, and then I'm set for life. So how does SCMS Pune promote an entrepreneurial mindset? Because sometimes you may just want to do something on your own, because this whole set pattern of find a job, get set may not really work out. Not only build an entrepreneurial mindset, but you focus on sustainability and ethics as well.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And fortunately, I think that is not how our students think. So entrepreneurship is a very popular specialization over here. As I said, we organize we provide them different platforms for them to interact with entrepreneurs. We have an incubation center. And one of the biggest proof is that all my students do not sit for placement. They don't want placement. There is only a limited number of students who want placement, and there is a large number of students who actually want to try something. They want to be entrepreneurs in their own way. And then maybe if they want to spend a year or two or sometimes more than that on their idea, and we encourage them. We encourage them to do it because we support them by different ways. So the mindset of SCMS Pune students is today very different. Not all of them are interested in placements. It's only a limited number. A lot of them actually go for their own startups, and a lot of them go for higher education.
That's great that the college encourages innovation and entrepreneurship. Aman, we spoke about the collaboration that you had with the senior students. So, at your college, what are the other global opportunities available for students to learn from around the world? Is there any exchange program with universities or colleges abroad? Because all this helps students develop a broader worldview. Could you elaborate there?
So Symbiosis was set up on the motto Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family. And SCMS Pune is also too much in sync with that. In fact, the whole symbiosis. And when you're talking about global opportunities, many, starting from semester exchange programs, which we have been running for a long time. So what happens is that our students get an opportunity to spend a semester abroad with the partner universities. And similarly, students from the partner universities can come and spend some time over here. While this is about physical mobility, there may be a lot of students who do not want to physically travel. And so should they be deprived of this internationalization opportunities? And that's where COIL stepped in. That's how COIL stepped in, that why should internationalization be limited to only a few? What about internationalization at home? When we are talking about global opportunities, our students get to learn and interact with faculty who come from our international partner universities. So they visit, they take classes over here. Similarly, our faculty also travels outside and interacts over there or takes classes. Faculty visits are both physical as well as online. Then our students get an opportunity to work with the international students on research projects also. So at undergraduate level also, we have been very conscious of the fact that research should be encouraged. Otherwise, people think research is a PhD thing. And that's when I should talk about research. While we feel research is an attitude. Research is not just PhD, it's a complete attitude when you want to go into depth of a subject. So research is very, very important, even at undergraduate level over here. And our students get opportunities to do research with international students. In fact, they've published a lot of research papers with international students whom they meet either by their semester exchange or by COIL. And again, another global opportunity that we provide is, so we have something called a research conclave, in which we invite undergraduate students to present papers. And we get a huge participation from Indian institutes as well as foreign institutes. Again, an opportunity for the students to interact with them. So internationalization is in the DNA of SCMS Pune, is in the DNA of Symbiosis. And at every level, we are providing them opportunities, online or offline, at different platforms.
It's amazing your students already have a global worldview. A lot of people now say that recruiters want more than just degrees. What are they really looking for? And how does SCMS Pune stand out here?
Yeah, when we are talking about what recruiters are looking forward to, in my experience, as we interact with the corporate world a lot at different levels, on an everyday level, on a placement level, on an internship level, or different seminars or research level, I think they're looking for students who know their content, their course, their syllabus, their subjects very well. Definitely. Otherwise, how will they be able to fit in their job profile? But at the same time, they're also looking for students who are able to have a macro view of things, which means that they are not just aware of their own specializations or subjects, but are also aware of what is happening in the management world or the business world, or rather on the global world. So students who are able to see things at a macro level also. Yes, they are definitely looking at students who are ready to adapt to their culture, fit in their culture, students who are ready to learn and relearn. Because a lot of corporate people tell me that when that they want people who are not fixated about what they already know. They are ready to unlearn and relearn. So they are looking for those qualities also. And yes, they are looking for students who are ready to uh, who are ready to stay with them for some period of time. In fact, we have seen that a lot of our corporate friends help our students go for higher education after they worked for some number of years. And finally, I mean, at the end of the day, their ethics are very important for any corporate world when they are picking up any employee.
Thank you so much for joining us, Pam, and talking about the pathbreaking initiatives that are underway at SCMS Pune for their DBA course, where students get an overall perspective of not just business education, but how to collaborate, how to innovate, and how to keep values of ethics and social responsibility with them so that when they go out in the workforce, they truly make a difference. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for having this conversation.
That was an inspiring and enlightening conversation. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing such deep insights into the evolving world of business education and how SCMS Pune is not just keeping pace, but leading the way. It's clear that when education is grounded in ethics, community, and innovation, it creates leaders who are ready to make a meaningful difference. If you're exploring a future in business with a purpose, SCMS Pune might be just the place for you to start your journey. Thanks for joining us. Take care and stay inspired.